What is up, everybody? Bootman here, and we are back with another Marvel Snap video. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about this wonderful card right here that everybody loves to hate, Leech, because there was word on the street that it's getting nerfed. A lot of people have been very upset about this. I'm even gonna discuss some content creators, big players in the community who have talked about just like even switching games. So it's kind of a big deal, but here at this channel, we are fostering a community of critical thinkers. So, although I am not saying this card should not be nerfed, because I think there's some changes that are warranted, I do wanna make sure we are putting on our critical thinking hats before we go all willy-nilly trying to nerf cards left and right, all right? So, let's discuss the problem. Let's discuss what some people at, Second Dinner have said about it, what the community's saying, some potential changes, and all that kind of good stuff. But before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Chris, AKA Bootman, and if you love Marvel Snap, especially the competitive aspect, like if you're interested in ranking up the ladder, becoming a better player, becoming a critical thinker, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. We're trying to hit 8,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're super close. I think we only need like 150, 200 more, something like that. So hit that subscribe button. And there's a ton of cool stuff going on. We have an amazing Discord server down in the description below. Super cool people. We have some really cool channels in there. And if you're subscribed, and if you follow me on Twitter, link down below at BootmanMSTZ, I do monthly giveaways for the season pass. That's right, I give away 3 season passes every single month, but you gotta be subscribed and you gotta follow me on Twitter. We just did our last giveaway and there'll be another one coming up next month for that amazing Hitmonkey season. All right, so Leech, right here. All right, so this card, remove the abilities from all cards in your opponent's hand, okay? And this has just been a topic of conversation, all right? It has been coming up oh so much. So many people, just off the top of my head, I know Jeff Hoagland's been talking about this a lot. Alex Kochia, he just made a video about, trying to play Nimrod, the brand new season pass card, but he just keeps getting Leech. This kind of become the thing over on Twitter. Everybody's just showing like, I cannot play anything because I'm getting Leech. And in a minute, we're gonna go over the actual data because part of critical thinking, and like I just wanna say, you guys, I read hundreds of books a year, okay? My other life outside of Marvel Snap, I read, I write for a lot of different like publications, I have my own Substack, and like 70 to 80% of the books that I personally read are on becoming a better thinker, because part of the way that we are designed as humans is to have a ton of cognitive biases, not see reality the way it is, and it's a challenge for all of us. And it not only helps me with my thinking, but it helps me understand other people better. It helps me have a little bit more empathy. I try my best to have empathy because I'm like, oh, okay, these are some cognitive biases, these are some heuristics, these are some flawed ways of thinking, and not everybody is aware of this. But I really hope in this community to teach all of you some things that I have learned so we can start seeing reality a little bit more for what it is, okay? And I'm gonna say this like 50 times throughout the video. I'm not saying Leech isn't a problem. Leech is a problem, we need some changes, okay? But in order for Second Dinner to make the proper changes, in order for you to be a better player, you need to be able to see the situation for what it actually is, all right? But like I said, a lot of people are super upset about this, so I wanted to show a little bit of what's been going on. So let me jump over here. All right, so this is something from Glenn. He's one of like the chief designers, something like that, at Second Dinner. Big dude, he's super cool. He replies a lot on Twitter when people tag him, like really cool dude. Again, another thing about critical thinking is that we update our opinions based on new information. I said this in a video the other day, like, a month or two ago, I was ranting about, I'm like, I don't know what you guys are talking about Second Dinner, listening to people like they're not, you know what I mean? But I've seen Glenn and others do a really, really good job of listening to people. So anyways, when it comes to Leech, here's what he said on Discord not that long ago, and they posted it on Reddit. So when it comes to Leech, yes, we measure fun. It's more important cards be fun than balance. That's what makes them appealing. Among my duties as game designer is to forecast player experience and interpret their feedback, as well as how the data corresponds to that feedback, okay? So I'm gonna pause right there. As well as how the data corresponds to feedback, okay? So I want you to imagine real quick that you had a favorite card that doesn't really get played that much. Like let's let's just say, and please don't like type in the comments below something silly. Okay, let's say your favorite card is Beast. That just comes to my head because I love bounce decks. Let's say Beast is your favorite card. Beast is not overpowered. It's not played that much, all right? But let's imagine a world where everybody in the community is like, every game I play is against Beast, and Beast is the most powerful card in the world. And you're sitting there like, no, it's not. I play Beast. My Beast deck sucks. I just have fun playing with it. But let's say Second Dinner starts listening to the community who is not basing their information off of actual data, but their personal experience, which might be a little skewed. And then Second Dinner is like, you know what? If it'll shut you up, we will nerf Beast, right? And you're sitting here like, what the, right? So anyways, Second Dinner has to take into consideration what the community is saying versus the actual data that they have, all right? So it says on Leech specifically, most card games, ours included, manage keeping many different cards fun and strong by ensuring there's meaningful counterplay against all of them. Designers often call cards serving this role, quote unquote, release valves, in that they remove the pressure created by strong cards. Leech is exactly such a card. His role is to offer players a clean answer to decks trying to pack all their power in the last minute, such as Silver Surfer or Deathwave decks. This isn't because we don't want those powerful cards to exist, but it's because we want to ensure a variety of powerful decks can exist. Release valves, especially ones that restrict players, becomes most problematic when dominant decks include them as wide-ranging protection. We don't want Leech or other valves to be our most played cards for their costs, but it's important for them to exist and be good at their jobs, which is a careful balance to manage. All right. So this is something that's been coming up a lot, all right? Yes, Leech is a pressure valve, but everybody's been including it like just in a ton of decks, mainly with Thanos being one of the top decks right now. And then people are also talking about how you can cheat Leech out a lot sooner. So Leech is designed as this turn 5 play to calm down a big turn 6 play, right? But with a Thanos Lockjaw deck, you can cheat Leech out like technically on turn 3, but mainly we're seeing a lot of turn 4 Leech. And something I've been bringing up, and it's something I'd have to look into a little bit more and get some data on, is how much better is a turn 4 Leech than a turn 5? Because like we can't just, it's bad logic to say, well, earlier is better. Earlier is just always better. Like, we can't just say that. Where is the evidence of this? What makes playing a turn 4 better, all right? Because if I play it on turn 4, now the person has more draws than they would on turn, if I played it on turn 5, right? Then they only have 1 draw. Also, I have no idea what cards I'm hitting. And I'll show you some data in a second where turn 4 Leech has not been good because it's completely random what cards they have in their hand. And playing them later, especially if the person skips a turn, they're gonna have more cards in the hand, thus more cards to be leached. So again, I would need to collect some data on this, on what's better, turn 4 or turn 5 leech. But again, it is bad logic and bad reasoning to just say, earlier equal better. Like, that's not always the case. Like if I lockjaw an Infinite or anything above 9 power earlier on, is that technically better? Now my opponent has more turns to draw a Shang-Chi and take it out rather than me slamming it down on 6 and them having to guess it. So we can't just automatically say earlier is better, okay? So again, before I move into this next section, I am not saying Leech does not need to get nerfed, all right? But my next question is, how often is Leech actually getting played? How often is this happening? Is this card getting played? Because, let me tell you, like, I have seen so many people, specifically streamers, when I'm working, like I work from home full-time, pretty cool, pretty sweet gig. I have 2 monitors, okay? Sometimes, most of the time, I have a streamer up just on the side. I'm watching, I'm trying to get ideas for new decks, maybe new videos, new strategies, all sorts of stuff. And I will literally watch streamers, okay? Not a specific one, a lot of them. I will watch them play 10 to 20 games not see a single leech. Then all of a sudden, a leech pops up and they're like, oh my God, I see leech every single game. This is such a problem. And I'm like, this is why I am such a proponent of collecting data, okay? The way we perceive things is not always reality, all right? But I cannot tell you how many people I see who just go on this huge streak. They'll go an hour without seeing a single leech. The second it pops up, all of a sudden it's all they ever see, all right? So I was curious, I went to Snap.fan and I'm like, how often is Leech getting played? Is Leech getting seen? Because talking to people, you would think that Leech is popping up like 90% of the time. I actually decided to look into this because I saw someone on Twitter say, oh, Leech is popping up 50% of the time. I'm like, where are you getting that number? Right? Because again, like people, you could say these things, but data is king. All right, so I went to Snap.fan and this is, let me refresh it just to make sure the filters are correct. So this is season 10, okay, for all ranks, all collection levels, just in general, how often is Leech being seen? So right here is where Leech is being seen, okay? 17% of the time, 17% of the time. So he's definitely towards the top end of this, and that's a little less than 1 in 5 games, okay? 20% would be 1 in 5 games, all right? So this is how often these cards are being seen. Now, I was talking about this on Twitter. Yesterday, I got very frustrated on Twitter because people just do not care about data. They're like, nah, I don't really care how often the data says it's seen. I just know how I feel about this. So I got very frustrated. But finally, my boy Kraken Null came out and he's like, this isn't just how I feel, the data actually shows Leech is popping up more. You have to adjust your filters. So I'm like, okay, cool. So what he did was, for his specific area, it's rank 80 to 100. Currently, I'm sitting at like 70 or 71. Still, rough season again. But also I'm messing around a lot with trying different decks. But also, so rank 80 to 100, collection level 3,000 or more. Boom. We see Leech popping up almost double that. Okay, so now it's at 34%, but also check this out. The win rate is at 61% when Leech is in the deck. Now, when Leech is being played, it's 63%. So that's very interesting. Now, couple caveats, okay? Because we're talking about data, because we're critical thinking, whenever I look at data, one of the best questions to ask yourself, and it's something that I learned, I forgot which book it was. If you guys want book recommendations, let me know. I can do another video on books that'll make you a better Marvel Snap player. But anyways, one of the best questions to ask yourself is, whenever looking at data, what is not here? What is missing from this? So when it comes to Snap.fan data, not every Marvel Snap player uses the Snap.fan application. Also, this app, it works on PC and Android. It's not on iPhones, okay? So there is a lot of data missing. There's people who don't have it. There's people who don't have it on their iPhone when they're playing on their iPhone. So there is a lot of data missing, okay? So anyways, 34%. That's still towards the upper end of this, but I just hope by looking at this, you're like, all right, it's not 100% of the time. It's not even 90, it's not even 80, it's not even 50% of the time, even in Kraken Null's bracket, all right? Now, another thing, I don't remember the exact number, but not long ago, Dara JN, big streamer in Marvel Snap community and stuff, he had Tien from Second Dinner on, who is a data scientist who combs through data. His data is his thing. And he said something, don't quote me on this, I'd have to go back and watch, but he said something about people like, I think like 70 or 80, rank 70 or 80, it's only like 5 to 10 or 5 to 8% of players. So when we are looking at the people who are seeing Leech this much, it is a very small percent of players. Why does this matter? Because there are a lot of people saying this, but there's only a small percentage of people that actually even fall into this category, okay? Now, let me say what I've been saying throughout this video. I'm not saying don't nerf Leech. We're gonna touch on that in a second, okay? So I decided to get my own data. Over on our beautiful Discord server, okay, we have a chat in there a little channel called like Spreadsheet City or Spreadsheet Nerds. So I pinged in there yesterday. I said, hey, everybody, whoever's interested in helping me collect data, make a spreadsheet, tell me what rank you are, what deck you're playing, and what decks your opponent's playing. And then there's a little note section, okay? And because I want to see how many times are people facing the top decks, right? Shuri, Thanos, Galactus, whatever it is. And I also have a note section. How often are you getting leeched? Now, surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, a lot of people keeping data, they are not getting leeched that much. Now, here is my spreadsheet, okay? So this is 48 games that I played yesterday, all right? So I was messing around with some different decks. So at first, I was playing Thanos deck, all right? And here are the decks that I faced. Now, I was the Leech-er. So check it out. Out of these first, how many games is this? This is 11 games. Out of these first 11 games, I was leeched one time. No, two times, and then I leeched multiple times. I leeched a few times. Now, check this out too. Two of these games, I leeched on turn 4 and I lost, okay? Right before recording this, I was watching a streamer saying, turn 4 leech is a guaranteed win. This is an exaggeration because nothing is all the time, all right? But here's an example of me losing, and it was to a random Kingpin deck, a Destroyer deck, right? Because Leech is not great against Destroyer. The other thing I was gonna say too is, if Leech is popping up that much, make a counter Leech deck. Make a deck where that begs to get Leech. I made a video a long time ago during the Leech leader thing, all right? But here's the next game. This one is a combination of like, it's like a double She-Hulk deck, but I have Kang in it. So it has Moon Girl, I named it Kang Girl, so this is the name of my decks. But check this out. So this is 25 games, and out of these 25 games right here, I was leeched once. I got leeched one time, and I won. Okay, so take that for what it is. Now, going on, I played like a Valkyrie Thanos deck. We both leeched on one of them. I leeched them a couple times, but yeah, so anyways, from these 50 games, the leeching was not really happening all too much. So now let's start wrapping this up a little bit. Let me talk about my main concerns as well as some potential fixes. So the reason why I'm talking about this so much is for a few reasons. One of them is what I mentioned earlier. Imagine like your favorite card that is not busted and there becomes a narrative around it, and then your card gets nerfed, or a card just gets nerfed that doesn't need to be. There's a lot of opportunity cost. If Second Dinner starts focusing on cards just because everybody's talking about it, but the data isn't there to back it up, there's gonna be other problematic cards that they could be focusing on, or other fixes to the game, whatever it is, all right? So that's one of my main concerns, okay? The other thing, again, I will update my opinions based on new information. My other fear is unintended consequences. So any of you who have been following me for like more than like a month, I was the biggest leader hater out there. I hated leader so much. It was so frustrating. You can go back, I have a video on it. Like, I have not talked about nerfing cards since this happened. Here's why. Leader, I hated it. I was like, this needs to get nerfed. This card does not belong in the game, blah, 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 blah. It was so frustrating. We even had a channel in Discord where you would post your wins against Leader just because he was such an annoying sucker, right? So they changed Leader, and all of a sudden, Death Wave pops up. Other decks pop up. I'm like, oh my God, I wish Leader was back. Because I wasn't around in the Marvel Snap community when Leader was, you know, when Leader started to become more necessary and Death Wave was huge and people stopped playing it as much and stuff like that. But anyways, I started wanting Leader back so bad. So since then, like I had someone on Twitter say like, oh, you're using Leech, but you said to nerf Leech? I'm like, I'm not screaming about nerfing Leech, like, or getting rid of the card. And it's because of this. All right, I think about it when they talk about like nature and like the environment and stuff. Like if you kill off like one species of animal, this species starts overbreeding and stuff like that. That's the way I see it. So when we're talking about Leech, I'm like, Leech is keeping some stuff in check. And if we get rid of Leech, all of a sudden, something else is gonna pop up that we're gonna be furious about. Which brings me to my next point. The other concern I have is that we are being just irrational players and we're complaining about cards that we don't like and we're calling for nerfs all the time. Like first, just off the top of my head, first it was Leader, then it was Zabu and Darkhawk. Zabu, Darkhawk, and Surfer, right? Now it's Leech, okay? Like, is there ever gonna be a time when we're just like chill, right? Or due to hedonic adaptation, are we gonna constantly be searching for the next card to nerf? Now, right now, you might be typing in the cards, no, this is the last card that needs to be nerfed. No, it's how we're designed as humans. We are going to look for the next problem. And if you wanna become a better Marvel Snap player, like we need to start thinking of different strategies. How do we work with what we have? Trust me, I've made videos. I get extremely frustrated and I get that the infinite climb is hard. I have been chilling out this season so far. My mental health is fantastic because I'm not striving for infinite as much. So we need to work with what we have, talk with Second Dinner, be rational about it, not scream about it, you know what I mean? But we cannot just keep finding new cards to nerf every other day. Like that's not a healthy gaming environment, all right? So anyways, I do think a slight adjustment needs to be done to Leech. It seems like a decent consensus is that Leech does need to be tweaked. A lot of very smart players I've seen have said, don't delete the card, but we need to do something with it. So I actually made a Twitter thread, I pinned it, and I said, hey, how do you think they should fix Leech? Okay, so there's been quite a few suggestions. Here's my man Milky Snap. Make sure you go subscribe to Milky. I think, yeah, he said he has a rant scheduled, so he has a video coming out on this. But one of the things he said was, the best I've heard is that Leech's ability can only be activated when played. So basically, what he's talking about is to remove the Lockjaw interaction. So you can't cycle Leech through from Lockjaw, which I'm like, on, like as somebody who has played a lot of Thanos decks, like Leech coming out from Lockjaw isn't that common. Me doing a turn 4 Leech into a Lockjaw, a lot more common, right? Me putting Leech, like getting a free card after playing Leech, I think that is more of a thing, right? So some other suggestions, one of them was restriction play to turn 5 like Magic. I don't know if that would be something that would help, because Magic, for example, you could play Magic early, right? But they're talking about restricting the lead so you can only play it on turn 5, which I don't know would help. Some other suggestions I've said are a lot like this one, silence 2 opponent's card. This is one that I lean towards, right? Make Leech a little bit more like Iceman, or what is it, Nakia? Yeah, Nakia, where like Iceman hits a random card, Nakia hits the first cards in the leftmost of the hand. Like I would think like Leech just hits 2, maybe 3, anywhere between 1 and 3 random cards. That's where I kind of lean. Let Leech just hit a few random cards. The opponent doesn't know what it hit. You have a chance getting leeched to maybe have it miss one of your good cards. You know what I mean? And then where is the other main suggestion? It's somewhere in here, but someone said KM Best brought it up. I don't know if he was the first one to bring it up, but I saw a lot of people bring it up, which is Leech's effect only lasts 1 turn. That, I think, is another solution that makes sense. Make it so Leech lasts 1 turn. That way, if you play Leech early, then it's not benefiting you too much. You have 1 turn of dead cards. You can work around that, So I think those are the 2 best solutions. People have talked about possibly upping Leech's power if you did one of those, like maybe making him a 5/4. I know Mogwai was just talking about this on his stream as well. Like 5/4, cool, 5/5 is a bit much, you know what I mean? But as far as a viable option, I think it's just, don't make it last the entire game. But yeah, there's a few things going on with the meta right now. I do find it a little bit like boring, you know what I mean? Just seeing the same decks over and over and over again. But the last thing I'll say is there's something called narrative economics. So some of you know, I mentioned in a video, I do a lot of like writing and reading and stuff like that and managing of my own personal finance. So I write a lot about that. There's something called narrative economics. So any of you who are interested or, you know, follow the stock market or whatever like that, stock prices do not always reflect the health of a company or how well a company's going. There's a lot of narratives that fluctuate the price of a stock, okay? And it's just because of what people are saying. Whether what they're saying is rooted in reality is completely up in the air, but it does affect the stock price regardless. So if a bunch of people say this company is doing terribly, even though it's not, the stock price can still go down, thus making the company appear more terrible. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of the decks that we're using. A lot of people are talking about certain decks, so a lot of people are using certain decks. A lot of people are saying that Thanos is the strongest card out there, so a lot of people are saving up their tokens to buy Thanos. So it's kind of this self-fulfilling prophecy. You see what I'm saying? But like I showed from the data, there is this has helped me a ton too, keeping track of this, seeing all of these different decks that I'm playing against, because like data helps me calm my mind down. Like, look at this. Like if I just filter this to, where is it? Thanos. Out of all the games I played, I only played against 5 Thanos decks out of almost 50 games. You see what I'm saying? So this helps me realize, oh, okay, there are more decks being played. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that's what I want to talk about. I try to keep my thoughts as organized as possible and keep this thing short. It ended up being 26 minutes. But I had a lot on my mind. I've been thinking about this a lot, so I hope you learned a little bit about data, critical thinking, some options, some unintended consequences, all that kind of stuff. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on what you would do to fix Leech. Like I said, I am not gonna go overboard freaking out about things getting nerfed. I learned my lesson with Leader, so I hope we can all sit down and have rational conversations. And most of all, I hope people learn that Second Dinner has a tough job. For as much crap as we give them, and yes, they're not perfect, this is a tough job. Like I said, every time we complain about cards and they get nerfed, something else pops up. Like, it must be hell for them, you know? But hopefully they respond to things a little bit quicker and things like that, you know, and foresee these things a little bit better. I've mentioned before, I hope they have like maybe creators or people in the community who test things or give feedback. I think that would help because a lot of us would donate our time and ideas for free just to like help the community, help the game a little bit more. But anyways, I'm gonna shut up now. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. How would you fix Leech, okay? If you're new, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell, trying to hit 8,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and you can join our awesome Discord server, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, @BootmanMSTZ, if you wanna be part of our monthly giveaways where we give away 3 season passes. Next month, we got Hick Monkey, and I am super excited. All right, but anyways, that's all I got for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one.